Everyone get comfortable there where you're at. And I ask for your attention, your focus, your ears, hands, as we get ready to get started. So welcome everyone. Good evening. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to share with you for this next hour, the sign language here, which we call Plains American Indian Sign Language, talking with hands. I'm the host, teacher, fourth generation speaker, Mike Pahsetopah. This is the second of 4 teachings, and so we're going to go ahead and get started. I wanted to start off by saying that this sign language that we do, it differs different parts of the country, but basically the note that we say right here, that it's a simple, direct way of communication. And I'll say that throughout the teaching, because that's one of my strong emphasis, is that I try to keep it simple. So I'm going to be explaining a lot of things in that area that helps in the description part. Nobody knows how old the sign language is. It's been around ever since we had our language, our spoken language. So it's always been a part of our culture going back. So again, we're going to go back here in a little bit and review some of the signs. I added a lot of, I don't want to just say idle talk, but descriptive terms and a little bit of background that I'm going to be talking about in between as I move along. So I wanted to break that up. At first, I thought I was just going to go for it and just keep talking, but I know I wanted to express the sign language here. In this sign language, Plains Indian Sign Language, you'll find similarities and you'll also find differences in it. One of our rules with it is that we never try to tell another one doing sign language, oh, that's not the way we do it. No, we say, can you show me the way you do it? And then, I'll show you mine if they want to learn our way to do it. That way, we're always learning. We're learning their methods so we can communicate with other people and then learn those signs. Because I know there's going to be those differences, and yet there's going to be similarities. And it's up to that speaker that's talking with his hands where he's going to be able to communicate simple by using this. So if he goes up if we travel up north and among the other Indians up there, we can maybe use the sign language. Like I might have said last week, I went to a horse race, seen a Blackfeet native. He was using sign language, talking to his young boys there, riders. So when he came by, I signaled to him and he looked at me. He said, yeah, he said, that's good. So it felt good because I don't get that everywhere I go. I don't get to see it that much around here in this part of the country because it's kind of gone. Culture's kind of moved on. So by this right here, we can bring it back, and the people are liking this. And so I'm trying to keep a real gentle approach to it. These methods that we can use to help in the communication is my great-grandfather used to use pantomime. He used to use pantomime. They said, Grandpa was very animated in his sign language because he couldn't speak. He would sometimes make noises, but yet his sign language flowed. It wasn't matter who his audience or who he was speaking to. A lot of times it was non-native and a non-Indian, and they understood everything that he said. Yet at the same time, he had a white gentleman that was his chauffeur and interpreter, and he'd go with him places. He was assigned to him. And that was back during the times of the Osage murders. So they said that my great grandfather had, somebody with him all the time that went with him because, he was one that stood out in the public and was, seen by a lot of people. So he always had somebody with him watch over him. Okay, now, Dad, I always bring my dad into this because I have an appreciation and a respect that throughout my life, he was teaching me and showing me this thing, and I get to carry it on. And, sometimes I just sit back and close my eyes and I'm seeing things now that at the time, it was common. Might have been considered taking it for granted. But now that, my eyes are open to it, and I can recall things, it's just like having these little home videos. And so using my imagination and everything that I have, I'm collectively gathering this all together, bringing it. And so again, in this communication, I mentioned pantomime. We'll also use gestures, expressions, facial expressions. Maybe since we're all different, everyone has a different personality. The way you convey and express your sign language may come off a little different, and that's okay. That's you, and you're going to communicate with people. Maybe hopefully looking into the time that you can be fluent in this, and it will just flow. The way our hands are, it's like an artist with a paintbrush painting the sky. It should flow, it should move, it should be fluid. At the same time, we could be considered like one that was leading an orchestra, and with your hands moving like that, there's hands positioning, there's structure, there's things in that it should be soft and gentle, because the arm and the hand is considered a part of the body, but it also is a part of our heart, and that's why we as American Indian people looking at ourselves and our neighbors in that mindset. So we'll use character, we'll use emotion in some of these. Let's pause for a minute and consider this. Let's say this wasn't a sign language class and we wanted to learn just by facial expression only. Let's say you can do this there on the other side of the camera. Happy. You get a happy face. Sad. Surprised. All of those things can be used as tools to back up and support your hand sign language. So you're not coming off as just stoic. Stop. Come. Go. Like that. You want to be able to put life into it. Feel. I believe the sign language is beautiful when I've seen it. Just like when we go to events and we see the young ladies doing that Lord's Prayer. It's good to see that, and to see them using those wide arm expressions and to bring it to life, and they're just using their hands. Now, so we see that just for that moment, we got an idea about how we can, use facial expressions. Looking back, we've seen our American Indian people a long time ago. They would dress the way they dressed. Would separate them. They could, you could know what tribe that was by what he was wearing, how they wore their hair, the feather that they had, how it was cut, how it was arrayed, the facial paint, maybe some of the beads and the earrings, tattoos, whatever they had, it separated them, made them unique. So our people had to be educated and to be able to conceive what the differences there was that was marking. And that's why I kind of say, in our sign languages, there's going to be times to when we're talking maybe to one from up north, and we're down here, that they might just sit there and go, and then you can add those little things, like I'm saying, those little tools that I've given you. Well, and they'll say, I got it. And well, that was good. So another thing, and some lessons before, I talked about eye contact, and it was customary among many American Indian people that there was very little eye contact at that time. We teach that in today's society, look somebody in the eye. But back in the old days, it was customary. It was part of that culture that you didn't make that initial eye contact with someone. It was almost like, you was using these hands up there in front. It was directed to that person. He knew you was talking to them. And then you understood the expressions. So again, everything that we're doing, we want to be knowledgeable. We want to be equipped, aware of the differences, the similarities, and things like that. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to review some of the signs that we covered last week. I'll pause, talk a little bit more, and we're going to get into tonight's class. So some newer words. Speak, 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 speak. Words, sometimes stories are handed down like that. You can use both hands or you can use that one. It just depends on the situation or circumstance, how many you're talking to. And so talk, speak, words, stories, name, my name, Mike. You can say your name in your intro. Okay. Next, hear. You may do hear, like if you could hear something way out there, you're listening. Or it may be a situation where you can't hear. You might lean over, or if someone's saying something back in the back, you tell them to stand, speak. Might even have to tell them to holler. And then when they do, you can hear. Let's say yes, I heard you. Okay. Now, truth. Truth is this. Truth. A lie, untruth would be here. Some of them just kind of hold that hand up, kind of look down. That look down is kind of like showing that the shame in that, the dishonor way of speaking. And then some of them will shoot that hand across there. See, they might put a little emotion in that, maybe a little attitude in that. It depends sometimes on the age of a person. An elder may, really be watching for protocol and order delivery, he telling stuff, using them hands in a little bit sharper, crisper way. Good is always here. Sometimes it's like a little chop. Sometimes it's smooth. Good. So you can see, the different applications, or somebody brings something. Yeah, come in. Good. Sit it over there. Bad. Bad is this. Kind of like the hands. It's kind of like that. That's bad. And then they get descriptive of what is bad, and then you have a sign for that. Yes, simple. That. Yes. No, it's this. No. No, no. That outward, that hand's kind of pushing out, you know. So again, you know, in that presentation of using that sign, you know, we'll sooner or later we will be able to go down to our list of words and signs that we learned and be able to put together, you know, hopefully a sentence, or later, you know, it's just going to come natural. Heart. Sometimes both hands. Heart. Stay would be like a direct order to someone. Stay. Right there. Stay. You know, like somebody was coming up or somebody was getting ready to leave. You tell them stay. Stay here. Now go can come from this shoulder outward. Go. You can do it slow or that way. Go. Stop. It's like that. Just put that hand up. Stop. There. Stop. Go over there. Father. Mother. Me. Father. Man. A woman is that sign of the long hair. Children, whether it's boy or girl, you might measure height, stature. Small child, male, small, female daughter, mine, I'm the father. Elder. All right, now we're getting ready to look at some new words here. This is an area of direction. Okay, let's say we seen go, we used go last week and in the review. So now we say come. We make that motion, come. Come. Here. There'll be, you know, different words next week where we're saying like where, when, why, and we'll get into that next week. But here we'll use this for come. You know, it just depends. You know, you want them to hurry, come. Or now around is this. Around. Go around that tree. Go around. Now long is like well, we could be talking about distance or traveling somewhere, and it's like pulling back a string like a bow, you know. Long, it's long. It's long. Go to. Go to, you would use an open hand and a finger. So here's the hand right here. Go to, that means you're telling somebody to go to. Well, kind of box myself in, and they might say, where? And then you tell them, over there, and then sit. So see right there, we go to. Now, at is this. You're pointing at top of your hand. At. Walk. Can make that slow. Walk. Doesn't mean walking with our hands, but it's that movement of a walk used with hands, direct communication. Okay. Faster walk, you just pick up that pace. Now I've seen some say run, they just have their hands going like this, where a lot of them would say run, like that. Or it goes like this, run fast, it's like that. Zip. Ready is a let's see here. Ready is almost like I'm ready. Okay. Work is this. It's like kind of the swivel of the hands. Work. Make is the bumping of the fist. Make. Work. Ready. Cut or cutting. And you'll do those marks just like that, those signs. That's cut. Whereas tear. Take wouldn't mean to use your hands and grab and pull it. They use that finger like a hook. Pulling it. Take that. Take. Mine, like something belongs to you, that's mine, that's mine. Mine. We used to have, used to be an old saying that was popular back in the 70s, that if another American Indian seen something that you had, they said, that's mine. I want that. Give it to me. And boy, there was some times then where you would see people, oh no, that's mine. That belonged to my grandma. I can't get rid of it. You're supposed to give that to me. So we had some customs that was coming up, and I remember being in some of those. I had a good friend one time. I had a beaded Osage vest on with prairie designs, and he come up behind me. He's a big, tall guy. And boy, he grabbed it. He said, "Hey, brother, take off that vest. That's mine. Give it to me." I'm like, oh boy, I thought, hope I can get through this and keep my vest. But that's some of that the culture, the things that we see that as our American Indian people, we used to have those ways like that, and where we had something we didn't really hang on to at that time because it might be called on to give it away. So that's how we looked at some possessions. Give, earlier I said, when we're giving those words, giving sometimes like maybe a blanket or a bundle or food, you give. It's like that. Give. Now, want isn't really a possession of something. It's a desire to have something, to get it. And so for want would almost be like an extension of open hands, and the needy want like that. See, that's how they would do that sign. It may vary, but that's pretty much the way Dad would say want. He want a cup of coffee, or he want, water or some food. Trade. Trade was the crossing of the hands. It's swapping. On trade. That right there might be a horse, might be a blanket, might be a feather. When they hold those feathers like that. Buy was the striking of the index fingers on the other index fingers. I want to buy that, or this, or those. See, all would be, say you was in a room of people and you wanted to speak to all of them. You would use that hand like that, that covers them. Meet. Have a meet with somebody. It's this. Okay. We don't want to get it confused with a TP or a home or a building or a kingdom. So that is meet. Together. Apart is this. Apart or separate. And now that sign, we don't want to get confused with open. Sometimes we do this, like, or maybe in a book, we open it this way, or we're in prayer, go like that, open. So let's see, where friend. The sign for friend is these two fingers right here. This man here, my friend there. Usually when we bring somebody up, we let everybody know, friends. Okay. Now we're going to take those words that we just looked over, and we're going to create, by using these words, to be able to say something rather than just a sign alone. Like we started at the top with come. We're talking to this little girl right here, telling her to come. Let's go over there. See, come. We might be talking to those in the back. We'll say, you come, stand up here, come. You go down there So we're just using like a over there, and then come back. Here's that coming back here. Those are some of the things that, looking back, that what Dad would tell me, while on stage performing. He'd say something like, while you're out there in the middle, I'm going to be back here, where I can't be seen, but I want to be standing where you can see me. You can see me. And, when I'd be dancing, I might use a turn. As I turn, I could see him doing a sign as that song was ended. If I had the crowd, the audience, really watching me dance, well, then I'd tell Dad to add another verse to it and pick it up. They didn't see those signs, but both of us was around each other every day, that we understood one another. We could feel that. And so he'd pick that song up even faster and faster. And then I'd look at him and he'd do that with that. He even had a drumstick in his hand. So that's some of the direction here. Sometimes maybe where he was, he'd say, go on out there, get closer to those people. So sign language did come in handy back then. Now across, let's say you go across that, maybe across that water, go across over that bridge, cross over, and then come back. Or we're going to start, let's say you're going to go over here. Well, start here and go over there. Walk. I was about to go fast with my hands. Walk slow. No run, just walk. So here's little ideas here that you can kind of see and you can kind of work with on your own. So take these words here, and practice them there when you get time. Each time we're just going to just keep going with this. So, I might get up here on the next lesson saying, ready? You know what I'm saying? May not even talk. Well, what if I just got up here and just did some of the signs that we've already did and started off like that? You would be able to say, okay, it's ready to start. Let's go. Talking with hands. Let's say maybe we could use the word trade other than, for items. Let's say for speaking, we're going to trade signs, like that, and then have somebody, teach you their way, show you how they use their hands to speak. Let me mark this down right here. There was something else I wanted to go back and to share with you while I've got my notes here. Now, knowing this sign language, looking ahead to that day that you can speak using these signs, that it's going to enrich you in your own culture. It's going to be a way. It's going to be another way to express yourself with your hands. I had so much influence growing up, watching my elders talk, you know, going with dad places. You know, we travel all around. And like I said in the last class, you know, you used to see a lot of sign language here in Oklahoma. And the further that we went west, the more we seen it used, rather than up around my Osage people. You know, they began to kind of lose that sign language. I think all I can remember is always hearing it was my grandfather was the only one that really used it. You know, I mean, because it was a have to case. It was a way that gave him the ability to talk, to communicate with his people. So, you know, to watch some good friends of mine that are no longer here, you know, we used to use some sign languages. We was just kind of just using it in a playful manner, way to entertain ourselves between destination. And we'd sit there and we'd sign, and maybe we were in a restaurant and our hands was on the table. Man, we would talk about, you know, dancing. We'd use all those signs, and next thing you know, we put our hands on the table. Well, we would be doing the footwork and stuff. But at first, we started off entering in, you know, using some simple signs, you know, and acting like we were singing. Of course, we wasn't going to do it in a restaurant, and everybody would hear us. So, you know, trying to be low key. You're seeing this right here. It's a new sign that it's me and my daughter was talking, and I told her, she said, "What about new words?" I said, "Well, what about key? I have a key to get in the house. I have a key to start your car." "Well, how do you do car in sign language?" I said, "Well, Dad always used to act like, you know, he had a steering wheel." And he said, "My great grandpa did too." He said he'd say, you know, that car who was driving. So that's one of some of the newer words that we kind of can use, and it's okay. You know, everybody knows it ain't these days of riding on horses is almost gone, you know, except for rodeos and stuff and way out on the reservations. So to be able to use it, express it in stories, express it in conversations, express it with our children and our family, and before other people, to be able to speak and talk, even things outside of our culture. You know, we can use it, and I believe it's a tool. It's a tool, and I'm all for it. You know, even in the humor part of it. When I first started doing storytelling, I wondered about sign language and how I could implement it into it. And at the time, I was, you know, kind of hesitant. I was kind of backed off a little bit, but I would kind of, you know, just kind of stumble my way through it. And back then, you know, I used a lot of animals, and I would get descriptive in the signs. And, you know, like a bear was this, you know. Maybe in a part of it, it talked about, and he had sharp claws, or he had sharp teeth. That bear was big. Maybe I might have did a growl, but let's say that bear was attacking, and he was trying to bite you, you know, or that you had to run fast, and then that bear was chasing you up behind you. I say, I went that way and he went that way. You know, a buck was big. Might want to talk about the buffalo dance. Sometimes we use this illustration in our dance. And it's the only time we use it. We won't do this at our dances or nothing, but we do this for our audiences so they understand that we're doing this dance. It's called the buffalo dance. So this is a sign for buffalo. There's the beard, there's the horns. You know, maybe it's a big buffalo, and then we'll We do that, and then that dance. Maybe it hops. And then some of them would jump. So there's that move we learned last week. So we put that in there. You know, and, I'm getting ready to speak to a group of Koreans that love American Indians. And so I can't speak Korean, but I'll have an interpreter, and I'm going to use some sign language with them. You know, I do that invitation that to welcome to this land here. Used to be ours. You know, they're here, so we have to show that welcome. Last week we described the water. Water is this. Drink is this. Use that for a sign for drink. Drink. Water. At a ball game the other night, my daughter was playing basketball. That's how my dad used to sign for basketball. Dribble, shoot. So we knew he was talking about basketball. My daughter was down on the floor there, and she looked up at us, and she went. And then I said, she wants water. Man, I was up at the bleachers. I had to go all the way down. And man, I was feeling old going down the steps. I went to get her water and then took it over there to her and gave it to her. Well, she was happy. And she was wanting some more water. And I looked at her and I said, water. She said, she wanted to twist that lid. She wants bottled water. So there again, I understood her. She understood my sign. But if we can just get our young people, our children, you know, interested in this, that they can use it, you know, and be proud of who they are, you know, for something to know that this sign language, talking with hands, was almost gone. It was almost gone. And, you know, now we are right here. We're doing this tonight. And to me, it's an honor, you know, just be standing, because I know there's somebody on the other side that is practicing. We're working on this together. Work. Make. Now, to cover, there was some more words last week that we did. I was mainly watching my clock, making sure I'm keeping up on where the time is. And I have no problem with time. It's a clock is the enemy. It's that clock. So last week I had some other words there. We was talking about food, hungry, hot, cold, and there's more that we could do, maybe in descriptive ways for food. And, you know, we say, you know, this sometimes is food, sometimes this means eat. You know, is it the same? Maybe we want to tell somebody to come. Let's eat. If it's bread, break bread, eat. Come. Come on. This food's going to get cold. Eat now while it's hot. Or a fire is this. That hand kind of shakes. That's a symbolic of a flame. This is the heat from what the sun gives. So, you know, we're talking about this right here. Hot. Yeah. Eat. Take. Drink. In describing morning, like in the morning when the sun comes up in that east, I've noticed that in my studying and comparing, there's different applications, positions of the hand that can be used to describe the sun. Okay. Now I brought my card here with me to show how one of them would be. So I'm sitting there and I'm holding a card up. Well, if I move that card up, you see my hand and that holding that same position. So if I can get up real close, we can see the detail of it. Okay, and we position that for the sun coming up. Okay. Maybe if it's bright, the burst, the sun coming up, you know, you might talk about the hands protecting the eyes, guarding the eyes. Just like if you was to say when we're speaking and we're giving out our words, maybe sometimes no, speak. You know, you might put your hands over your mouth. Then again, today there's been times when I've used that sign right there to refer to a mask. You know, mask up. Let me get back to this time again. I get a little distracted. So there. Then I've noticed before that some would do the round sign here, meaning the sun. As the sun comes up center straight, or again, holding that hand straight up would be noon. And if we take it to like about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you know, you see afternoon. And as that comes down, it's almost the hand position of that evening is almost like the pulling down of a shade. Sun's going down. So you can do like that. Evening. Okay. Evening. See, I used to go making that sun go down here, and then I'd sign for good evening. But now, you know, I might can use this one here, good evening. Nighttime, of course, is this. I think that, you know, to be able to get specific on direct time would have to be a lesson where we could get, you know, maybe into numbers, numbers. And then sometimes we're talking about something, maybe beadwork or the color of something. We'd have to figure out a way that we can describe colors. So right now, colors and numbers, you know, we'll kind of put it back here for now. All right, I'm looking at the clock. What I want to do right now, before closing, is I want to allow, you know, some questions. Maybe hopefully I can answer them. I'm going to get up a little closer here. I'm going to have to go down. Do we have any?
Question. I've got young kids that I'm teaching, or what we're watching this together. if they make up, I mean, I assume it's good to make up, like you said, what's like something for this, something for that. But also, when you use your own language, and I was thinking about it, is it considered like the same way we'd use our own language if we knew the structure of it when we teach?
Hang on one second. I'm going to move this podium out of the way. I'm going to grab a chair here. I think it's. I think when it regards our language, and that we're preserving it, we're teaching our children. I believe that this sign language can go together with it. So, not only do they learn the English, but you really learn your language, plus to support it and enrich it with that sign language. I know in my own home growing up, there was 3 of us brothers. Dad and mom be watching TV. Dad would always tell us, to tone down, or if he was working on artwork, and us boys would just come in the door and we was loud and,
Excuse me, just a second, Mike, just a second before you answer. Can you
Okay.
take the top of that laptop and kind of move it down just a little bit so that we can see more of your hands and what you're doing? Because I know you're talking to us and we need to see what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay, now, good. But
Okay, I'll bring them up here. Our language, our tribal language, we're going to use that together. Bring them together that we can be able to speak with our hands and speak with our mouth. So, you can teach our children the language, keep that, put that right here, or here. And what I said earlier is that it enriches who we are as people. So, next question.
Let me extend that question.
Okay.
Because I know when you're speaking it, and I know a lot of tribal language today may be broken language, I guess. Some may know a few words and to speak it that way. But can you consider the Indian language as you say, from tribe to tribe, could be in a sense a universal language if you don't know. But for me to have that terminology, is it like I said, if you don't know your full language, it's broken, I guess, broken language that a bit here and a bit there. Would that be a good proper term in the sense of Indian?
Same scenario in case for me. I belong to the Muskogee Creek. I'm also Ute. I was raised among my Ute people, but I danced at powwows and I danced among my Osage side, my Osage culture. And so my language is fragmented. I'm not a fluent speaker, but yet I'm fluent speaker when talking with my hands. And I'm learning more and more of my language since I've kind of taken a role at naming people in my Osage clan, my Buffalo clan. So I've got that position to give names. So the learning those words, learning our language. No, this is apart from the sign language. Learning our language, the words and stuff are so vast in understanding and describing and what those words carry in our language. Just like a story, just like a joke, an Indian joke in a language, man, it's funnier than it is in English. And I've told Indian stories before, and my audience sometimes didn't understand it, but I told the same one to some American Indians. Man, they just sit there and just laughed. And so it's something that we have, that when we're talking, we're like-minded. We have a way that we can communicate with one another. This sign language is just a simple means, again, of communication among our people. You know, it's diverse. I spoke at a language conference, and I had Osage, Ponca, Quapaw, Call, and some of that group there. And they had their conference, and I came in with the sign language and explained, you know, some of the basics. And so that brought up an interest and curiosity, because they've been wanting somebody to come in to do this. And so among that group of linguistics, you know, the language is pretty similar. So if I was to have a speaker, a fluent speaker now, because we do have some, they can stand here. And as long as I know the words that they're saying in the language, I can sit there and, you know, sign for them. Any more questions?